if we get it up and running on the YouTube. We're live on YouTube and we're live on X. Just tweet it out here quickly and good to go. Let's go to X. Okay, we're live. See if I can still hear myself twice or more. No, this should be fine. Let me just go to the live stream here. Okay, we're live. See if I can still hear myself twice or more. No, this should be fine. Now it should be good. Okay, good to go. I don't know what's happening on Instagram, but we are on YouTube and we are on, we're on Twitter as well. So everything should be fine. Welcome to another Benny's World, overcoming obstacles. And I've had to overcome some to get the live stream ready, but here we are, back on a lovely Wednesday, the 12th of June. Welcome. We're talking about overcoming obstacles today. You can find me on X. If you are on X, please, you can find the post there, or you can say something. You can, just let me know who is here. If you're here watching this, just give me a little shout out there in the comments. But you can also follow me or watch me on YouTube, the live stream on our channel via Stoica. You can go there, you can subscribe it. You can see all the other videos that we've made, some of the meditation videos, some of the podcast is out there as well. You can watch those there. We have some other videos, some of the shorts, for example, some of the shorts that I've been doing for the podcast that I've been guesting on, which has been a lot of fun, a lot of great fun to do. To speak for it. See, Rose is here. Hey, Rose on X. Yeah, thanks for listening in. That's great to see. So we have all these things there. It's been great to be guest on all these different podcasts to speak to a lot of interesting people, such as the Gen Z Stoics the other day, which was great. I spoke to them. And I spoke to Claudia from the Self Reflections podcast, which is great. And there's some other. If you want to see all those, you can obviously go to the YouTube channel, but you can also find it on our media page on Via Stoica, where we have all the interviews that we've done. Not just me, but also Brendan and Bryce. So check those out. Today we're going to talk about obstacles, how to overcome obstacles, and what they can teach us, what they can tell us about ourselves. So this is something that I've been doing for a few weeks now. This is the third installment. Is it the third? Yeah, I think so. Maybe the fourth. No, the third. As I'm here in Ecuador, unfortunately you can't see the view that I have in front of me, which is a great mountain range, lovely green. It's just started to rain a little bit, but it's all lovely. I still have a few more weeks here in this house. So we've got a few more Benny's live streams from on this topic from here, and I'll keep doing them because I really like them. It's nice. So this will take about maybe 15 to 30 minutes, depending. If you want to add something, if you want to say something, just let me know who's here on X. If you're watching me on X, just leave a little comment there. If you have any thoughts, remarks on overcoming obstacles or some questions, just let me know. You can do that on X. And again, I'm also on YouTube at Via Stoica, our YouTube channel, which is there's more and more content coming there. So check us out. Overcoming obstacles. Let's dive into the topic again. If you want to add something, if you want to like and repost a little page, page that I've done. See, SBS form. Is there a mirror behind you? I see trees. No, that's not a mirror. and that is actually the other side of the building. That's another window. So I'm on the top floor of this house, and there's like a very big panoramic style wall of windows in front of me, but there's also the same on the back. So that's the back of the house, which is also filled with trees. I'm in the middle of nowhere at the moment, middle of nowhere. They say that like it is, but there's not a lot of houses here. Just in the middle of the mountains, lovely trees, lovely green. So it's great to be here. But that's a great question. That is not a mirror. That is just the other side of the house. So this is one of the, as people know, I've been traveling for the last 2.5 years, and I've been house and dog pet sitting. Not only dogs, but also cats and other animals. So I've been able to go to a lot of lovely places. Yeah, thank you. Starting anew, it is. Yeah, you see how heating. Yeah, thank you. It is beautiful here, and I've been able to, and I'm so fortunate to be able to go to these lovely places, great places to stay and to work and to just. This feels like I keep kind of comparing it to Thoreau's Walden, right? Only just a lot bigger, a little bit more amenities. And I do have a small car that I can use to go to the grocery store, which isn't near here, but it's a lovely place. I'm very fortunate to be able to do this and to work here. So yeah. So again, my views are amazing. It's the same in the front view is even better. But yeah, great question. Just to kind of see where I am. But so yeah, let's overcoming obstacles again. If you want to add something about there, where are you headed next? Well, where I'm heading next, I'm supposed to be going to Chile, but there's some other plans going along, so I'm not sure exactly where I'm going next. It's kind of up in the air. So I can't really make any decisive answers on that because I just don't know simply myself, which is kind of my life. It is nice, it's still a couple of weeks that I've got here, but not sure exactly where I'm going, which is kind of I like the adventure. I like the um, yeah, that kind of freedom, and also the not knowing and just kind of going with the flow, which sometimes also has its obstacles, right? um, yeah, no worries. Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, no worries at all. But yeah, and thanks. If anyone else wants to add some questions here, but let's talk about obstacles and overcoming obstacles, right? Because we can see from this quote from Marcus Aurelius, which is a massive one there, right? Healing, you live vicariously through me. Yeah, that's yeah. Sometimes I get that from people, right? They say, "Oh yeah, I love hearing your stories. I should post more about my travels. I am not a really avid travel blogger, or I don't take a lot of pictures, or my day-to-day life is quite normal, I'd say. For example, I can tell you exactly what I will be doing for the next couple of days. I'll wake up, I'll do my exercises, I'll walk the dogs, and then I have my breakfast, I'll start working, I'll do some other stuff, lunch, and then have a nice little walk with the dogs again. And that's pretty much life here for me now, which is, I like it. I like although I travel a lot, I do like the calm day-to-day life mixed up with I stay here, and then I have like small holidays where I go to different places. Like I was in Colombia and Santa Marta and Cartagena, and that's kind of like a little holiday where you get to explore more. But we're busy, we're building, and so it requires our time as well. Um, but yeah, great stuff. But overcoming obstacles, right? Marcus Aurelius says in his meditations, he says, what stands in the way becomes the way, right? The obstacle becomes the way, and overcoming obstacles isn't always easy, right? And I would love to hear from anyone here in the chat, like how you overcome obstacles and what they mean to you, and yeah, what they tell you about yourself. For me, they've told me a lot, right? So I think we all have, what is an obstacle first? If we really look into what an obstacle is, because we all have our own obstacles, right? We can say, oh my, even if your life is great, right? If you don't have anything to complain about, you can still have your obstacles, right? You can still have those things that you would prefer not to happen, or the things that you would like to happen could also be an obstacle if they don't happen, right? So there are two sides of it. So the obstacles are pretty much what is not aligned with our wants and desires, right? or with what is, our needs, what is kind of obstructing our goal in life, our perfect vision of life, what we really had in mind of how life were to go. So, for example, and if I don't know if people have been watching some of the guest appearances that I've made on some of these podcasts, which have been great. But yeah, I've got, recently divorced, and it's a that is definitely an obstacle, right? And why is that an obstacle? Because you have a certain future in mind if you live with someone, right? If you work with someone, and then suddenly that kind of future disappears, right? That's how it is. Although you can still live your own life in a relationship, you are building it with someone together, and that's kind of gone, right? So you then suddenly you are faced with this mountain of questions, right? Faced with all of these doubts, faced with these things like, what am I going to do now? Or, yeah, there's a kind of a void, or all of these things, right? So you sit there with these questions, and then you see life in front of you suddenly looming up, where before you had the support, and now you've got to do it all by yourself. And that's, those are the kind of obstacles, and but those are also the things that show you kind of that. For me, it gave me kind of a refreshing look, right? It took a while, right? This is not something that you do easily, and you have to there's different things that you're struggling with at the same time, right? You the loss, the grief, and all that stuff. You got to work through that, right? That's something that we've got to work through. But in the meantime, you can also, it's time to kind of rebuild yourself, to build yourself up, right? And so that happened. I had like an injury, not like a life-threatening injury, but my knee got really, twisted, turned upside down, pretty much. So sports was something that I couldn't really do anymore. Like played football, soccer for the people in the US, and then suddenly that is taken away from your life, right? So all these things, and you're in a job that you don't like, you feel that there's something out there that you should be doing, right? For example, what I'm doing right now is, trying to share my message on stoicism, on living a better life, on following your passion, on doing the thing that you really feel that you should be doing, right? And we do that if you all can also watch me on via Stoica on our YouTube channel. But on Via Stoica, we offer life coaching, right, where we do help people to kind of unravel, unlock, find their path in life, which I've had some really, really great sessions and people to work with, which is awesome, right? It also teaches me a lot. But it's great to have the ability to do that. But it takes also obstacles to overcome. Suddenly you go from a fixed income where you're working for someone, and then you become an entrepreneur working for yourself. Luckily, you have two great partners in Brendan and Bryce, which who we were working together to build this company up, and to share what we think is a great tool, a great guide to help you live a better life, which is stoicism. So that's something that we're doing on the side. But there's a lot of obstacles there. So we endure, or we endure. Maybe that's not the right word, but we encounter these obstacles everywhere we go. Right? That's normal. Like even the smallest thing can be the obstacle that you're facing on a day. Let's say I've when I stayed in Panama with Brendan and Kara, which was a lovely stay. That was about a month ago. I left there, but it was still great to and I stayed there a few weeks by myself, and then suddenly there's no electricity or water. Those then become the obstacles, right? Those things that we take for granted, they can become the biggest obstacle in our day. So we have big obstacles, small obstacles, and those are all the things that we kind of have to overcome and find a way to work through them. But they become the way. And this is kind of, now I'm looking at the those bigger, the real, the vision, the meaning, um, the real thing about life. What is it about you, who you are, right? Those are the obstacles that kind of keep you from being who you are. And again, Marcus already says that becomes the way, right? That is something that is really going to show you who you are. And if the closer that you are and knowing who you are, the more motivation, the more spirit, the more power you have to go through these obstacles, right? To just climb them and say, this is not an obstacle for me. This is the only way that I've got to go. So I just, roll up my sleeves and keep going. And that's the kind of attitude that we have to have in life, right? Because life isn't the easy, smooth sailing road that we all expect when we're young, and we see all this people in front of us in life, even the ones with success. We don't know what they've had to go through and all the obstacles, right? But we have to kind of, then put our shoulders under it and just go for it, right? But we have to have that motivation. And in a lot of our spaces that we do, Brendan, Bryce, and I, we host weekly spaces tomorrow on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Pacific, and that's 2 p.m. Eastern. Is when we have the Be Stoic space, when we look at a quote from the Daily Stoic entry. But even in those spaces, we mentioned, for example, the book of Viktor Franklin a lot, right? Man's Search for Meaning. He was in the death camps in Nazi Germany, and he had to overcome those, the horrific horrors there. But he had such a strong conviction, and he found meaning in those obstacles, right? In that suffering. That's where he found his meaning and what he had to do in life. So we can also find our meaning in those things, right? And it's not like we have to go and look for those worst things to happen just to find that meaning. No, they will, we can just live a life, and they will come. That's just what life is, right? So we can use our strength and our power and our motivation and who we are to overcome them. And sometimes it seems far worse from people who are looking from the outside than from us, because for us, there's no other choice, right? After the divorce, it was like, I can either sit here and, be this victim and say, oh, look at me, look at how sad I am. Or I can say, no, this is my now a new chance that I have to really work on myself to get going and to just do my best to live the best life I have. So that was one of the things that I decided, right? Is like, and then you've got to be a little bit tough on yourself, right? You just got to say, okay, this is not going to be me. And I mentioned this in one of the podcasts that I spoke on last week with the Gen Z Stoics. Great guys, by the way. Um, and it was like, okay, this is not going to be my life, after a night of, drinking away my grief and my sadness. And I just sat there and it was just like, hungover and, just feeling miserable about myself. And I looked, in the mirror, not the one that, supposedly I had here in the back, but I had this I looked at myself, I was like, this is not going to be my life. This is not going to be me. So I made some rules for myself, right? No alcohol, get fit, go to the gym, go work out, and not to get buff, just to feel fit, just to feel good, just to get that energy in, eat healthy, right? Just to get that extra motivation push from my body to feel like, okay, at least this is something that I can control right now, right? I can control like living a bit more healthier and giving my brain because going through this mental stuff, going through these emotional points in your life, they take a lot of energy, right? So you've got to be, at least make sure that you're fit and strong for yourself. So no alcohol, eat healthy, go to the gym, start reading more, really focus on what I really want to be doing, and just go and live every moment and every day, and just also trust in time that things will get better and easier. And that's kind of what I did, right? So, and what the great thing about that is, and that's why I'm very grateful for those obstacles in those years, because the great thing is it showed me kind of more about who I am, right? It showed me again, I had a hard look at myself, and it gave me such a clear vision of that was not the life that I wanted to live. This is the kind of now the direction that I was going in. I was putting far more investments in myself, and I was living in Dubai at that time. And you say, oh, Dubai, that's great about making money. Yeah, it is nice to make money, but you can also really get lost there easily in all the grandeur. Just really focused on, okay, do my work, and then I just work on myself afterwards. Just eat well, read, write, do all those things. And I've invested so much time in myself during those times, that now I've gone so much better of it. And I see Healing's post, there's on the Twitter here in the comments, there's no way around but through, right? That's it. And because around, that's not the you've got to get through it, because if you go around it, you'll just meet the hill on the other side, right? You just meet that next obstacle, you meet the next one. You've got to go through it, you've got to work through it, right? You got to take the time for yourself. And in that sense, you also got to be kind to yourself, because there's going to be difficult moments where you just can't do all the things that you've had planned, because you've got to deal with this stuff first, and you got to work through it, right? It's again, work, it's an active thing, right? So I focused on myself, and I started investing in myself, and little by little, doing that, and I found some good support and some friends there. But just working through that little by little, you just feel yourself kind of, walking a little bit better, walking a little bit faster, feeling that energy of like, okay, I've got this, right? I can do this. I can overcome this obstacle and become a better version of who I was. And that's pretty much what I've worked towards right now. So, and I'm sure that my obstacles haven't been the worst out there, right? I'm not here like, showing like, oh, I've had a really bad life, which I hadn't, right? I haven't, not like it's over yet, but my life has been. I'm super grateful for the life that I've had, right? I've won the lottery of life when I was born. That's the first lottery we win, right? Or we play is where we are born, and I've had a great family, great support, and all that stuff. But again, we still have our obstacles because sometimes life doesn't go the way we think it should have been going from the beginning. And those are the obstacles. And we shouldn't undermine them, right? We shouldn't just shove them aside. No, if you're struggling with something, you know, sit with it. Ask yourself what's going on here. Find support. Ask people around you. Or like that's one of the things why we have this life coaching with Via Stoica, and because there are people who need that extra help, who just need kind of those questions being asked to them or for them, right? And those are the great things that we have. We are together, right? We don't have to live in this alone. You can find people around you, so look for them, right? Find support, because that's something that is super important if you are in those. And it doesn't have to be someone who is going to carry you over the obstacle, but just someone who you can express the difficulties, the pain to. Just someone kind of like an outlet, right? Maybe that's a journal, right? Maybe that's just you writing something, right? Or maybe that's just fine. Maybe that's an art. Maybe there's a way to express yourself, express that hurt in some way of like painting or music or whatever, right? Some kind of creative outlet. And that's what we've got to look for, right? You've got to look for those things that work for yourself. So when we overcome those obstacles, we can find out more about ourselves because we've looked into it, and we can find also about the people who are there for us, right? And so again, and especially from I don't know exactly who's watching here, but thanks, Healing. Yeah, thanks. You're a great coach. Healing says there in the comments. Thank you very much. I take that as a great compliment, and I do my best, right? I feel like that's kind of my duty. I'm on a mission, right? I want to help people, and that's why these videos, kind of sharing my story, hopefully that helps someone else, right? But when we overcome those obstacles and we find who we are, right, and we find that support and we find those people close to us, then we can see what life is really about, right? And that's it. We work towards things, and we this is our life, right? We only have one shot at this, so let's make it the best. And it's not going to be great all the time, right? We don't have to pretend that it is, right? And sometimes it's difficult to see that other people might go through difficult times, especially if you just look at social media, because that's not the way it is, right? Even those smiles on Instagram or here on X, or on YouTube, on both. And again, if you want to add some comments there, if you want to share things, let me know. But those smiles, they might not always be real, and that's something that we can forget, right? And we also don't have to keep those masks on for other people to think that we are doing great, right? And especially, as from a male perspective, especially for men, it's so difficult for men to ask for help, because that's kind of like a sign of weakness. But it isn't, right? Life is tough. We can't do all of this by ourselves. So we do have to ask for help. Just reach out to people. Just send them a message. Hey, I'm struggling with something. Do you have like 5 to 10 minutes? Can we chat? We need that support sometimes, right? We need to have that outlet, and we need to have some people just telling us like, hey, it's okay. We can live this way, and we can, you can overcome this. Or if you need help, here or there, support, right? And that's good to find. That is important to find, right? But at the end of the day, it's also up to us to really work towards it, to take the right steps, to make those movements, to maybe even slow things down a little bit from what we're doing in life. Even at work, that could be an obstacle. You could be facing an obstacle every morning going to work and just struggling with the fact that you are doing something that's not really you, right? But there's a choice there as well. Right? If that's your obstacle, there's a choice that we have there as well. And you can say, how much do I need this job? What is this job really providing me? Could I leave? Could I do something else? Could I maybe change in the company itself? Or is there some other way to do? But if you are facing with those obstacles, and if you're just struggling with life in that aspect, just take a step back. Just just slow life down a little bit and just take stock at from where you are, what you're doing, and where you're going. And I think that that is such an important part of what we can do for ourselves in life, just to slow it down a little bit. We don't always have to be running. And this is something that you see on these platforms where people are selling you this perfect life, where it's just like, oh, you've got to get up at 5 a.m., then you've got to go do this, you've got to be winning all the time, you've got to be running, you've got to be attacking, but you've got to see how long you can last doing that, right? That is something that you've got to really look at. Is this your life, right? Is that really something that you can do? Maybe instead of waking up at 5 a.m., you wake up at 7, right? You do something else, that instead of going to the gym, you read for an hour, you journal for an hour, you do something that is important to you. But you've got to figure that out. And the same thing with overcoming those obstacles. You've got to find your way to deal with them, right? To go through them, not just to ignore them or to go around them or to maybe turn around, because that's not the way life works. We got to get, and the great thing about it is, once you overcome those obstacles, that's where you find yourself. That's where you will see who you are, right? What character you have. And it's not the moment that's when you reach the top of that hill, when you overcome that obstacle, that's suddenly there. You're just, snap of your fingers, now you're a better person. No, it's that grueling climb, right? It's just putting one, just climbing those rocks, climbing those obstacles, climbing those emotions, those feelings, understanding them better. That's where you will find yourself, right? That's where you will see who you are, and what you're made of. Seneca says it, in one of his quotes, which I really love. And it goes like, "You are unfortunate because you have never been unfortunate. You have never had a chance to show yourself and the world what you're capable of." And that is the obstacle, right? Our obstacles are the moments where we can see what we are capable of, what we can do. And that's those moments we need to cherish, right? So even in those difficult moments, it is really tough to do that. But even in those moments, you should be able to take some time, and it's like, hey, this is my test, right? This is me being put to test, and life is the exam, right? Life is the exam, and this obstacle is just one more step for me to see if I can make it. And if we look at obstacles that way, hey, great, then they're just showing us that we can become better. Like, a diamond is made by pressure, right? The diamond is made by so many years of pressure, and we can become that diamond if we get through that pressure, and if we can bear it, right? Again, we don't always have to do it by ourselves. We don't always have to only rely on ourselves, but we have to take the steps, right? We have to take those. It's like you're running a marathon, right? No one is going to run those. You have to run those miles. You have to run those kilometers yourself. Otherwise, what's the use? So yeah, that's kind of my take on obstacles here, overcoming obstacles, and not just overcoming them, but just becoming better because of the obstacles. Becoming the real you because of those obstacles. And again, this isn't a stream about showing you how to do X better or make much money or all that stuff. This is about you becoming a better person and living better lives. And we need to take this serious, right? We really need to take this serious, who we are, what we do, because we only have one shot. So that was kind of my talk on overcoming obstacles. Again, if you want to add something in the comments there, please let me know. If you liked it, just give me a shout out. If you're here listening to it on X or on YouTube, again, we have a YouTube channel as well, Via Stoica on YouTube. You can find us there, where we have videos on, from the podcast, meditation videos. We have some of these lives that I've been doing. You can check the others. I did one on financial freedom, on gratitude so far. And I think, is this the fourth one? I can't remember. Maybe this is the fourth one. Yeah, it could be the fourth one. So you can find us there as well. We have obviously the podcast, Street Stoics. Thanks, Healing. I like that. Amazing job. Proud of you, my friend. Yeah, proud of you as well with all the things that you've been doing. The spaces you've been hosting, and thanks for doing all of that. And so yeah, we have the podcast, Street Stoics, is out there on any kind of player that you use, Spotify, Apple, whatever, Buzzsprout. You can find us there. You can go to streetstoics.com, or you can go to Via Stoica, where you can find on our media page. If you go all the way to the bottom, there's a link to our media page where you can see links to the guest interviews that we've done on other podcasts. Some of them are YouTube, some of them are Spotify. So you can find all of those there. Where we've been speaking, but you can also find the services that we provide, such as life coaching, right? The Stoic coaching. You can find us there. You can schedule a free consultation, and we can see from there if we can work together and help you kind of overcome your obstacles. Again, asking for help and support is important. And we're also here on X. If you're watching on X. And I look to the right because I have my phone on my right. But we also have our spaces on Tuesdays. I host a Stoic space at 11 a.m. Pacific. And then that's at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern, yeah. And then we have the B Stoic space tomorrow. That's at 7 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m., 9, at 10 a.m. Eastern. Someone is going to correct me here somewhere. One point, but and then we have Saturday. We have the Stoic workshop by Bryce. Tomorrow, by the way, is with Brendan, with Boggles, and me, where we go through the daily Stoic. And on Saturday we have the Stoic workshop at 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Eastern, where we go through the letters of Seneca. So that's a lot of thinking there for me to do. That was an obstacle for me to overcome, but I wanted to thank everybody for watching. As I said, it's going to be like 50 minutes to 30 minutes. We're at 31 minutes right now. So I wanted to thank everybody for watching here on YouTube and everybody for watching on X. And thanks for all the support there from some questions from Healing, from Rose, from SBSS Forum. So really wanted to thank all the support. And hopefully I'll see you again next week. Maybe I'll even do them a little bit more often. I like it. It's good. But if you have any other comments, then let me know. If you have any topics that you would like me to talk about during these live streams, love to hear about it. But thank you for now. Have a great rest of the day, wherever you are. And hope to see you soon somewhere. So thank you very much. And have a great rest of the day.